Stranger Things has one of the best ensembles TV has ever seen. But the show could have been very different if any of the talented cast weren't rejected one too many times. Ready to find out who was crazy enough not to hire them? Number 1. The film industry is a lot like Game of Thrones in its own way.
You get no's, a lot of no's, before you get a yes.
Millie Bobby Brown auditioned to play a character in Game of Thrones. The rejection was so hard on her, she nearly quit acting.
That's kind of when I was like, oh, this is really difficult.
She moved away from Los Angeles and back to England and everything.
One of my last kind of goes at this was a Netflix show called Montauk.
AKA Stranger Things. We're pretty sure every time we hear of an actor making it big, it was right after a disappointing audition that almost made them quit.
I think I was just very disheartened by the rejection.
So, we wonder if there's a mindset thing that happens. Either they just don't care anymore and the nerves go away and they give one awesome audition, or they've built up the story in their head that it was the end, but really they weren't even close to being ready to give up.
Montauk was definitely the one that kind of gave me that hope of doing it all again.
Every audition may feel like the last one in an industry that beats you down so much. Number 2. Jamie always has been drawn to the supernatural stuff. Jamie Campbell-Bower auditioned for Edward in Twilight, but was rejected. He wound up playing Caius in New Moon though, to the end of the series. Caius was one of the members of the Volturi. Given the way the series has aged and seeing how Robert Pattinson still has a hard time shaking the sparkles, it was probably in Jamie's best interest to not have played the lead. He did, of course, play the lead Jace Wyland in The Mortal Instruments, which had a very similar tone to Twilight. Number 3. You've gotta wonder what happened. Noah Schnapp auditioned to play the boy in Wonder. He lost the role to Jacob Tremblay, who's just a bit younger. Noah also initially auditioned for Mike in Stranger Things, but landed Will Byers instead. So if you think he and Finn look similar, it's because he was a runner-up to play the lead. Number 4. Listen, Joseph, don't beat yourself up too much.
I was up for Spider-Man.
The guy who got the role was quite literally too perfect for it. Nobody else compared. Nobody. Joseph Quinn auditioned to play Spider-Man. We all know who he lost the role to. But the good news is that Joseph remains optimistic about his audition.
Still wait to hear.
Who wants to be the one to tell him? Number 5. A team-up of Wolverine and Eleven would be epic. Millie Bobby Brown auditioned to play the little girl in X-Men's Logan. She lost out on the part to the slightly younger Spanish-British actor Daphne Keane. Number 6. We're entering into the corrupt side of Hollywood for a second. David Harbour auditioned for Fred Dukes, aka Blob, in X-Men Origins Wolverine, after being told they needed a bigger guy for the part. In the audition, Harbour jokingly picked up his shirt and said, "I got your blob right here." Harbour admitted that the director said to him afterwards, "David, look, you're wonderful. We really think you're just a great actor. We're just concerned. We're really concerned." Harbour said, "Why? What's your concern? I'm good to go. I'm available. Let's do this." Their response? "No, it's just you lifted up your shirt and we saw the... We're just a little worried about your health." But Harbour's sass was the best part. He shot back, "Wait a minute, dude. Pause for 1 second. You're telling me I'm too fat to play the Blob? That's awesome." Instead, they stuck a ton of prosthetics onto Kevin Durand. Number 7. Star Wars, an origin story. Robert Englund went out for an audition for a part of a surfer in Apocalypse Now. He was rejected for being too old, but at that audition, he'd heard about how Star Wars was casting for Han Solo, and he went and auditioned for that. He was rejected again, this time for being too young. But you know who he lived with? One Mark Hamill, who he'd told about the audition, and that's how the world got its Luke Skywalker. Number 8. Maybe Finn is aiming to do movies and shows in every decade. Finn Wolfhard's had a few tough auditioning experiences. He was genuinely heartbroken when he didn't land a part in Jonah Hill's movie mid-90s. We imagine he auditioned for the role of Stevie, or maybe Ruben. The other troubling audition for the actor was the role of Bruh, Sound Effect 2.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Roger Smith, and I'm auditioning for the role of Bruh, Sound Effect 2.
We heard they went with Jeremy Roger Smith instead.
Bruh. Bruh. Bruh.
In case the joke is lost on you, Finn is Jeremy Roger Smith. Number 9. Winona's a leading lady, and she's always been aiming for the best of the best. when it comes to characters. Winona Ryder's been very open about her many rejections. Does that make her a bad actor? Not by any means. She's just the one who talks about the fails. She was a rising star at the time of her audition for Rose in Titanic, in which Kate Winslet beat her for, despite being more of a noob. She lost a role in Shakespeare in Love to her friend Gwyneth Paltrow. Just a couple of years later, the two were desperate to be in Chicago together as Roxy and Velma. Well, they lost out to Renee Zellweger and Catherine Zeta-Jones. Number 10. Did everybody audition for Mike first? Noah Schnapp wasn't the only one who auditioned for the lead. Gaten Matarazzo was originally asked to audition too. We can only imagine how different the show would be if he'd have played the lead instead. But we just love Dustin and wouldn't change him for the world. Number 11. Here's another reason why all the male actors kinda look similar. Joe Keery originally auditioned to play Jonathan, then sent a tape in for the role of Steve. It was a much better fit if we do say so ourselves. Hey, maybe the characters are all second cousins.
Whoa, this is crazy.
Hawkins is a pretty small place. It's possible. Number 12. It isn't very often actors do multiple shows and movies together in a lifetime.
I actually auditioned for the Goldfinch. You were in there.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
Charlie Heaton auditioned for the Goldfinch. We imagine for the role of Theodore Decker, as it went to an actor of a similar age, Ansel Elgort. Finn Wolfhard was in this movie as well.
Yeah. And I was wishing that you could have gotten it. Oh.
Number 13. Maybe if you're just precious enough, they will ignore the fact you're only a single threat. Sadie Sink auditioned for Matilda on Broadway.
Which was a bold move because I am not a dancer.
Priah Ferguson auditioned for Annie, but she can't sing. There are some things you can lie about on a resume, like your ability to roller skate or your sewing skills, but if you can't sing and you're going out for a musical, all we can say is break a leg. Preferably for real. You will save yourself a ton of embarrassment. Number 14. Yes, she's been so vocal about her rejections, we had to split it up into two parts. She was turned down for the role of Marla Singer in Fight Club, which went to Helena Bonham Carter. She lost out on the lead to Kristen Stewart in Snow White and the Huntsman, and she also auditioned for a role in Almost Famous.
It was definitely overwhelming.
Well, she's famous now. Too famous. Even though these snooty casting directors couldn't see talent if it punched them in the face. Just kidding. There's enough room in Hollywood for everybody, and we love Winona's role in Stranger Things. Number 15. The hustle is real, and rejection is even more common for writers than actors. They're not actors, but the Duffer Brothers were rejected by 15 different studios before Netflix picked up Stranger Things. We bet those other studios are kicking themselves in the butt now. While rejection is more common than booking a role in Hollywood, it's still interesting to hear where our favorite actors didn't land a part. It inspires us to never give up. Do you have an inspirational story about a time you almost gave up but powered through? Motivate us all in the comments, and thanks for hanging out with us here at The Things.